Hey guys, welcome to another audio commentary. This one is between two Terran players actually. We've got Bbyong, who's a member of Team Cal, up against WinG, that's KT.MGW WinG. I don't know very much about his team, but there you go. This is a map, it's a game on the map Katrina. There we see WinG in orange at the right hand side position, and Bbyong is up the top in teal. Now, Katrina, there's been a few complaints about the actual balance issues on the map, but because this is a Terran versus Terran, we won't have any of those difficulties here. First supply depot going up from both players. Now with Katrina, the only thing is that you've got a protected natural expansion, so expect to see that coming up fairly quick, but let's see how that goes. Just one thing I want to say before I get too far into this is that I've got the game running at 2x speed. This is a replay. I had a few comments from people that speeding up the game and slowing it down is a bit disorienting. Sorry about that. This replay will be consistently in 2x speed. It won't be slowing it down or speeding it up. But it's a 2x speed because this game's over 40 minutes long, and it's going to be a pretty epic one. I like to compress things by having the commentary just as fast-paced as possible. Keeps it exciting. Anyway, we actually see, I'm not sure if you spotted that, but the command center first, before the barracks and supply depot from WinG, but the other way around from Bbyong. So WinG has just taken a little bit of a initiative here to gain a little bit of an advantage, but it's not a very big one because Bbyong has just gone for his command center straight away. And there's not very much difference in terms of timing between the two of them, even though WinG went for his first. Bbyong getting several Marines out there, so perhaps looking to give himself the possibility of rushing in, but both players sending in SCVs, scouting basically what's going on. They realize that they're fairly evenly matched in terms of their opening, and we're not really going to see any early action here, just basically getting the economy down, both factories going up at similar time. Scouting barracks off Bbyong, and the Marines are heading out. I'm not sure what he thinks he can achieve by that. Well, there he spots the other barracks, so that's at least something, sending the Marines out to pick them off. But that bunker is effectively going to prevent those Marines from Bbyong doing anything. So WinG is pretty much safe. Shooting the power generator neutral building there, but that's just not going to do anything. WinG's got plenty of Marines. Really what's going to be of more interest here is to see what happens in terms of tech, and there we have it. WinG getting an early Wraith. Interesting opening there. It's more of a harassment thing than anything else. See, we've got a academy going up for Bbyong already, so he's going to be able to spot the Wraiths if they go for cloaking. Other than that, we've got a double factory from Bbyong, so fairly standard getting it out. We've got siege mode upgrading, some Goliaths already, so that single Wraith coming out from WinG isn't going to do very much. But WinG moving out now with two tanks to his, I won't call it the natural expo, I'm going to call it the secondary natural expansion. What we've got in Katrina is basically your natural expansion, which is protected, it's part of your main base, and then you've got your second natural base, which is just outside, East Protect. But Bbyong has already set up two tanks, sieging over the ridge, but WinG's got two Wraiths already there to pick them off, so great play there by WinG. Not actually using his Wraiths to harass his opponent's base, but instead just stalling that first effort by Bbyong to actually harass his expansion, and WinG will be able to get his expansion up very quickly. The Wraiths, the Goliaths are there for Bbyong, but they're not going to do very much good against the siege tanks. And WinG has got his third base up already, and that's going to be very useful. And immediately bringing his tanks up, because he's got more tanks than Bbyong, thanks to being able to pick off Bbyong's tanks with his Wraiths and get into position to just siege that second natural expansion for Bbyong. So WinG taking the early lead here, Wraiths handily picking off that engineering bay, but that was a bit careless. They're losing his Wraiths to the Goliaths, but the Wraiths have done a great job so far, and there's not really need to sort of point out too many critical errors here from WinG. WinG definitely taking the lead here, and Bbyong responding with Wraiths of his own. That's an interesting tactic. It's not uncommon for a player to respond with Wraiths, given that they'll be behind on making Wraiths, but instead Bbyong has just gone to all out with two starports anyway. even though he'd already committed to Goliaths to protect himself from Wing's Wraiths. And he's just coming in and doing a bit of counter harassment here. And we've got a scout down the bottom left, if you spotted that. Just making sure that nobody's going for sneaking expansions, getting more expansions than they were basically entitled to by the flow of the game. Bbyong moving around the back with a sizable force. Goliaths, tanks, Wraiths, all mixed. Third starport going down, so he's actually going to be committing to Wraiths. Really interesting stuff here. Wraiths aren't a big sort of Terran versus Terran unit unless they are controlled very well and you don't make mistakes. They're such a fragile unit. Wing responding to this flanking maneuver here by Bbyong by just bringing his siege tanks around and is effectively thwarting Bbyong's attempts to take down his expansion, but those Wraiths, he's just got more of them in, and Wing hasn't actually bothered to get any Goliaths, and that's because he went Wraiths early on, didn't figure that his opponent would be countering with Wraiths, and the Wraiths are just having free reign over those tanks, just lasers everywhere. Finally the Goliaths show up and basically rescue the situation. But starport's going down for Bbyong, and an expansion over at the where the second natural expansion is for the west position, the 9 o'clock position. So that one's fairly out of the way, but it's also within range of reinforcements from his own base. And looks like we've got Bbyong just setting up siege tanks as his Wing. Not really too much happening here. It's basically just a game of chess at this point to just threaten various positions. Oh no, God, that's a lot of Wraiths. I'm counting just about eight or so Wraiths there. Bbyong is just piling it on with those Wraiths. God, and he's upgrading cloaking there as well. Just blasting Wing's Wraiths out of the sky, and now he's in a real position to actually harass this expansion, despite the turrets going up. When you've got enough Wraiths, that's the thing in StarCraft. If you've got enough of a unit, it doesn't matter if the opponent has the direct counter to it. You can still just shoot them out of the sky, or even just snipe the turrets. Even though Goliaths and turrets are excellent, as we see here, just one turret doesn't even last a couple of seconds against those Wraiths. So Bbyong is in a great position in terms of maneuverability. He's already being greedy and just taking the entire left side of the map, the entire 9 o'clock position, the main base, and the natural for it. And Wing is desperately trying to push out here with a force of Goliaths and tanks, but he needs to keep them together, because if those Wraiths start picking things off, I mean, they're just going to gain so much momentum with that. Momentum. But Wing doing what he needs to here and actually shooting down some of these expansions. If he just lets things get out of hand and just tries to build forces up, that's not going to bode well from him. And we've got Bbyong. Oh God. Two more starports, and the Wraiths cloaking coming in, shooting down the Goliaths. I mean, that's just what I was talking about earlier. The StarCraft is a game where counters matter. I mean, you've got to respond to your opponent's unit selection with a counter selection of your own. But in such great numbers, the Wraiths actually do destroy the Goliaths. If there's actually, if the Wraiths outnumber the Goliaths, I'd say in a ratio of about 2.5 to 1, or maybe 3 to 1. Oh, Valkyries. Valkyrie is probably one of my favorite Terran units. You very, very rarely see it, especially in a high-level game like this. But Wing is actually getting Valkyries because they can potentially be a great counter to Wraiths. Valkyries counter Wraiths, that is. But once again, if you have too many Wraiths, they're just going to shoot the Valkyries out of the sky with their really quick attack speed. That's the thing about Wraiths. They're very quick. They shoot very fast, but they're very vulnerable. So if you can actually avoid having your opponent taking advantage of your vulnerability, you can really see success. And what we're seeing here is not enough Wraiths. I think they split up or something like that, because Wing had several Goliaths coming with the dropship. Very nice move there, but just by dropping them down the back, avoiding the tank force, and he's been very quick bringing the dropship straight back with more tanks and Goliaths. Bbyong coming in with tanks of his own, but that's may not be enough to save his expansion down there. Still, Bbyong's doing great with a massively saturated, I'm not sure if it's saturated, but there's a heavy mining operation going on there. 5 starports, still pumping Wraiths like crazy. He's even upgrading them for Bbyong. And Wing WinG now moving in exactly where he needs to with a huge force, but he's only got 4 Goliaths, and remember, with Bbyong just pumping Wraiths out of the staff